This is Josh White with JW Math Tutoring. In today's video, I'm going to go through Bluebook, Digital SAT, Practice Test 9, the Math section, Module 1. So let's go ahead and get right to it.
But life is a dream that calculus could never predict.
Just before I begin going through Digital SAT Math, Practice Test 9, Module 1, just want to mention a couple things that I mentioned at the start of all these Bluebook solution videos. First, if you like this video, of course, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and sign up for notifications. Second, this video may run past the 35 minutes that is allotted to complete this module. And that's because on some problems, I'm going to show multiple methods you can use to solve the problems. So just be aware that if you're taking, an official test and you see a problem similar to one that I'm going through, you wouldn't necessarily need to do 2 or 3 or 4 different ways of solving that problem. You could do those extra ways if you have time, but otherwise you'd probably only need to do one method or maybe a second method just to double check your answer. And the third thing is, please do check out the videos for the same Practice Test 9, Module 2A, the easier of the 2-second modules, and Module 2B, the harder of the 2-second modules, once those videos are posted. All right, so let's go ahead and begin now. Again, Digital SAT, Practice Test 9 in the Bluebook app, brand new test that came out about 11 days ago. Module 1. So the quickest, easiest way to do this problem is just to go ahead and add the polynomials. Okay, so we can just go ahead and combine our like terms here. Matching up the 2x squared terms, we get 3x squared, and then matching up x plus 6x is just plus 7x, and then negative 9 plus 1 is just negative 8. So the correct answer for this is going to be letter D. Now, I will tell you, you can also do this problem in Desmos. All you have to do is type the original expression, meaning the original problem, and then you go through each of the answer choices, and you see which one completely overlaps the graph of the original problem. Make sure we type it correctly. No. -9. There we go. No, that's not it. We're missing the x here. Okay. Looks like there we have it correctly. Okay, so I'm not going to bother going through all of them, but if you see here, if I type answer choice D, notice it completely overlaps. There's the original expression, there is answer choice D, they are one and the same. So you can do that when you're matching equivalent expressions in Desmos as well. Next up, question number 2. Here you have a problem where you're translating text into an equation. So the total is $165, so that's going to go on the right by itself. Down payment is $37, so that's just a fixed amount. And then you have monthly payments of $16 each, and there are P of them. So you will need to multiply 16 times P to get the total of all the monthly payments. Add that to the 37, and that's equal to the total cost of the microscope. So notice the answer choices, they technically put the 16P term first in choice C, which is the correct answer. But we can just switch the order, that's fine, because addition is commutative. So correct answer to this one is letter C. Question 3, here you have a formula question. It is very short and very simple. You just divide everything by 7 to get M alone. So the correct answer is letter A. Also, I will mention you can do this you can do formula problems in Desmos, but because here all you're literally doing is dividing by 7, I would not spend the time doing that. You're not even arranging or moving any terms to the other side. So I'm not going to bother showing the Desmos solution for this. Next up, you have a basic function evaluation question. So all we have to do is take the function, plug in 3 for x, and then simplify it, and we get the square root of 25, which is 5. Correct answer is letter C. And of course, we can just go to Desmos, and we can do the problem in here. type the original function, type g of 3. There's our 5, which is the correct answer. Maybe it's faster to do that than just plugging it in and doing it in your head, but either way, correct answer is letter C, 5. All right, next up, we have a table, and we're doing a probability question here. What's the probability of selecting a student whose vote was for lion? So notice there are 80 total students, so that will be the denominator in our probability fraction. The total number who chose lion is 20, so that's the numerator. That's the number of favorable outcomes. Then this just gets reduced to 1 over 4. You can divide it by 10 to turn it into 2 over 8, and then, divide each number by 4. So you get 1/4. The correct answer for this problem is letter C, and we can move on to the next one. Okay, question number 6. Here they want to know how many posters must be sold to earn a profit of $900. So really all that's happening here is you're replacing P of X with 900, and then you're solving this equation for X. So you can do this by hand, add 220 to both sides, 5X equals 1120, divide by 5, 224. Which is the correct answer. Selling 224 posters will yield a profit of $900. Now, if you don't want to solve the equation by hand, that's fine. Just go to Desmos. You can type the whole thing in, look at the vertical line. You're going to have to zoom out a little bit because it'll be at 224, but you can solve the equation that way as well. All right, so on this problem, number 7, asking for an appropriate, basically linear model, i.e., what's the equation of the line that would be a good line of best fit for these points. So you can do this one just by basically process of elimination. You don't even have to solve anything. So notice the y-intercept is going to be like somewhere right around 10 here, right? It's a positive number. So this is out because its y-intercept is negative, and this is out because the y-intercept is negative. Then you have two choices. Notice, okay, the slope of this line is clearly negative. Therefore, it has to be letter B. It can't be letter D, which has a positive slope. So you don't even have to solve anything, to get the correct answer. Here's letter B. But I will also mention that if you wanted to, of course, you could go to Desmos. You can plug in 2 points, and I think the 2 points that I chose were 1, 9. And again, these are just estimates. It's not exactly on that point. And then the other one I chose was around 4, 3. So I chose those 2 points, and then actually I can just click here, linear regression. Notice it's automatically set. When I click the regression button, it's automatically set to linear, which is what I want. So my answer here is negative 2x plus 11. So which one is that closest to? Well, negative 1.9 is close to negative 2 for the slope, and 10.1 is positive 10.1 is close to positive 11. Everything else, either the slope or the y-intercept or both, are wrong. Next up, question number 8. Here we have a system of equations, and they want to know what the value of y is. So if you want to do this one by hand, it's actually not that difficult. Basically, you can either subtract them or technically multiply the second one by -1 and then add them. However you want to think about it, notice the x's will cancel out. 3x minus 3x, 0. 6 minus 4, 2. 4y minus 2y, 2y. Divide by 2, y has to equal 1. Okay, so the correct answer is going to be 1. Now, of course, if you didn't recognize that, didn't want to spend the time solving it, you can go to Desmos and you can type in each equation. Where do they intersect here? So it looks like this is the point of intersection, and the y value or y coordinate is positive 1. Same exact answer that I got, solving it by hand. Next up, question number 9. Here we have a frequency table. So this one looks maybe a little trigger confusing, but it's actually not. It says, what is the maximum data value? So the largest data value is right here. It's 14. That's all I want. Don't even look at the frequency column. You don't even need that. In other words, the largest value in the table is 14, and that's it. We can move on to the next question. Okay, number 10, they're asking here about 2 circles, and they want to know the total area of both of them combined. So one of them's already given 100 pi. The other one, they give you the radius, so we just have to plug that in, to pi r squared, our area formula. So 4 squared is 16, so we get 16 pi. Add that to 100 pi. Correct answer is 116 pi, letter D. And that's it. Don't need to do anything else. Next up, we have question number 11. Here you have an equation. So I will just show you. The quickest way, or the way that I guess they want you to solve this, is because you're solving for 4 minus 3x, an expression, and not x itself, like you treat this whole thing as one term, and so then you subtract 8 of that, quote, one term on the right and on the left. And what happens is you have 9 minus 8 of those 4 minus 3x's, and on the right side cancels out. And then, of course, you subtract 2, you subtract 2. So you get 1, because 9 minus 8 is 1, 4 minus 3x term equals 16. So there's your answer. 4 minus 3x is 16. Now, of course, if you don't recognize that, if you don't see that, that's fine. Then you can solve for x, and then you could just do 4 minus 3x. So if you're going to do that, though, I would absolutely recommend that you just do that in Desmos. So let's see what we get here. Plus 2 equals 8x plus 18. Okay, so my solution is negative 4. So what is 4 minus 3 times negative 4? Well, it's 16. I get the same answer by solving for x first and then just plugging that into the expression. All right, next up, we have a question dealing with similar triangles. So here is the thing. You can draw a picture for this. Now, these are actually, I shouldn't draw that right angle because these are not necessarily right triangles. So just whatever, JKL. It doesn't tell us that they're right triangles, but so here's the thing. F corresponds to J. Okay, so these two angles are congruent because we're told the triangles are similar. Oh, never mind. They are right angles. What am I talking about? Yeah, down here. In my picture, it has right angles. So ignore everything I said about not being told they're triangles. They're right here. G and K right angles. Okay. So the sine of f, which is basically opposite over hypotenuse, is this over this. What is the value of sine j? So the thing is, f and j are the same angle measure. Okay, so if like whatever f is, I mean, you could plug this into Desmos and calculate, but it doesn't matter. But the point is, whatever f works out to be in terms of degrees, j will be the same angle measure. So when you take the sine of it, you're going to get the exact same ratio of 308 over 317. In other words, f and j have the same angle measure. Therefore, their trig ratios will all be the same as well. Sine of f and sine of j are the same. Cosine f, cosine j, tangent f, tangent j. It doesn't matter if the actual sides themselves are not the same. Like, for example, KL is not going to be the same as GH necessarily, and FH and JL. But the ratio of the sides will be the same because they are similar. So the correct answer for this one is going to be letter B, 308 over 317. All right, next up, we have this wire which is being cut into two parts. So if you think about the picture, it's like one part is x, okay, one part is y. The value of x is 6 more than 4 times y. So in other words, this part is equal to 6 more than 4y. And we know the whole thing is 106. So now you have a basic equation. 6 plus 4y plus y equals 106. And now you can just solve this equation. 5y minus 6 equals 100. Y equals 20. Now be careful. They want to know the value of x. So you have to take this and you have to plug it back in up here because x is equal to 6 plus 4 times the 20. 6 plus 80, x equals 86. So the correct answer for this is letter D. Now, you technically could back solve this. I would not recommend it because I don't think it's going to be any easier, but like you could start with one of these like values as x, and then you could subtract 6 divide it by 4. That would give you the y value, and then you add x and y, and you see does it equal 106? And that's only going to be true for letter D. Next up, question number 14. So here we have basically an interpretation of a linear function with two variables in it type problem. So 4529 is a number of trees, okay? So that means 5x in total has to also be a number of trees. Since they tell us 5 is a number of hectares, that means that x, in order for like hectares times something to equal trees, that means x has to be trees per hectare in order for the units to cancel out and just be left with trees. So for this problem, it's going to be basically letter A, number of trees per hectare. And the reason it's A and not B is because they tell us up here, a certain, the 5-hectare industrial park. So the 5 corresponds to the industrial park, whereas 24 corresponds to the neighborhood. So that's why I'd say A instead of B. All right, next question, number 15, finding equivalent expressions. So if you take A to the 11/12ths and you, first of all, write it in radical form, okay, it would be 12th of A to the 11th here. But notice, okay, we don't have that as any of our answers. So, all right, let's forget that. Let's look at these answer choices and try rewriting them into fractional exponent form. So like this is going to be 132 over 12, 132 over 144, 132 over 121, and 132 over 11. We're looking for something that can, an exponent that can be reduced or equal to 11 over 12. So it's going to have to be letter B just by process of elimination because we need a smaller number on top and a larger number on the bottom. So A and C and D are out because they all have larger number on top of the fraction and a smaller number on the bottom. So the correct answer for this is letter B. But the way you also know that is because 132 over 144 basically has a common factor of 12. Divide each of these by 12, you're going to get 11 over 12. Now, I will also mention that for this one, we can go to Desmos as well. The thing is, though, because if you want to keep it in A, that's fine. You just add a slider, okay? And the thing that's annoying, see, I'm not going to bother going through all of them. The thing that's annoying for this one is you have to go down here and you'd have to get this nth root function. So 144th root of a to the 132nd. Notice here that the value is identical. It is the same. If you try these other options here, you will see none of them will match the a to the 11/12ths number. And they stay the same regardless of where I move, the a value, as long as I keep it positive. So that's just an alternate solution method, but the correct answer is letter B. All right, next up, we have a polynomial function given an intercept form. And we take this and we shift the graph up 4 units, and they want to know what is the value of g of 0. So you can either take 0 and plug it in, and notice you get -6 times -2 times +6. So in other words, f of 0 is equal to 72. But you have to shift f of x up 4 units, so 72 plus 4 is 76. The correct answer for this problem is going to be 76. However, you could also just go to Desmos. You could type in the original function. And then you could say this is the original function and it's shifted up 4 units, so give it a +4. And then let's find g of 0 right there, 76. That's our final answer. Don't need to do any more work. Next up, we have question 17. Here we have another system of equations problem. And if you want to do this by hand, it's actually not that difficult because you would just take the y and replace it with 4x plus 1, basically doing substitution. And then you could go ahead and you could, let's see here, 16x plus 4 equals 15x minus 8. Then we solve this out. We just get x equals negative 12. And then y is just going to be equal 4 times negative 12 plus 1, negative 48 plus 1. Y is going to equal negative 47. So x minus y, negative 12 minus negative 47. Same as negative 12 plus 47. Correct answer is just going to be 35. However, if you don't want to go through all that work, I fully understand. We can instead just go here and we can graph the problem. Now, these lines might look parallel up here, but you can see they do get closer together and eventually we do have the intersection point. So then here's where you could just do x minus y, negative 12 minus negative 47, and there you can see you get positive 35 as your answer. Okay, so if you want to do the problem entirely in Desmos, that is how you can do it. Next up, question 8. We have a function, basically an exponential function. They're asking a question about it, and they want to know the best interpretation of the y-intercept. Okay, so the y-intercept obviously occurs when t, in this case, is equal to 0. So you plug in 0 here. 0.65 to 0 is just 1. So the y-intercept is just going to be 8,000. And this function models a number of coupons. So basically, okay, this is not 8,000. This is not 8,000. Get rid of that. So 8,000 is the number of coupons that were sent essentially in the first year or at the beginning, which is essentially the end of 1998, i.e. when t equals 0. So correct answer to this is just going to be letter D. It's the starting amount. It's not the, number that was sent over a specific time period. It's not going to be letter B. Next up, we have question 19. All right, so this one, you have a formula problem. You can do this using picking numbers, but first I'll show the theoretical way, then I'll show like how to use picking numbers to get it. So you have 88x ounces. So I'm putting ounces on top and then in 5y minutes. So minutes on the bottom. Which of these represents the number of ounces in 9y minutes? So all you're technically doing is you're taking this rate and you're multiplying it because this is technically like ounces per minute. You're now multiplying it by 9y minutes. Okay? And so the minutes cancel out and you're left with just ounces, which is what you want. So what else cancels? Well, the y cancels. It looks like nothing else cancels, just 88 times 9, over 5, which is going to be 792. Of course, we need the x as well, over 5. So that's our correct answer. It's letter D. Again, that's the theoretical explanation behind it. But if you wanted to, you could also just say, I'm going to let x equal 1, and I'm going to let just y equal 1. All right? So in other words, it does exactly 88 ounces of water in 5 minutes. So how many ounces of water does this equal in 9y, or 9 minutes? So here, you could set up a proportion. Think about it, 88 ounces, 5 minutes. X, unknown ounces, 9 minutes. So notice, if you go ahead and do this and just multiply this out, right, you're going to get 5x equals 792, x equals 158.4, I believe. Let's just go to Desmos to confirm that. Okay. Yep, 158.4. So now, essentially what we're doing is we're going through the answer choices and we're plugging in 1 for x, and we're seeing which of these equals 158.4, the number of ounces that we would get in 5 minutes, or excuse me, in 9 minutes. So 9 times 1 over 440. Nope. How about if I switch them? 440 on top over 9 on the bottom. Nope. Okay, now what about if I put 5 on top and 792 on the bottom? Nope. Okay, what about if I switch them? Yes. Now I can see I get the exact same number that I'm expecting, the 158.4. So this is just how you could use the approach of picking numbers to solve this problem as well. All right, next up, we have an equation with some square roots. There's some radicals, and they want to know what the smallest solution to this is. So a couple things here. First of all, if you want to do this by hand, of course, we would just square both sides. Get x minus 2 squared equals 3x plus 34. And then we could square this out, and it's going to be x squared minus 4x plus 4. If you're not sure how I got that, it's just foiling it, and I'm just able to basically kind of do it all in one step here. First add or last, and then combine the middle terms. And then I'm going to move this over. X squared minus 7x minus 34 minus 30. Now I can factor. I know it's going to be x and x. I know it's going to be plus and minus, and I need some factors of 30, negative 30, that add up to negative 7. Looks like it's going to be negative 10 and positive 3. Negative 10, positive 3. So I get two answers. I get positive 10 and negative 3 as my solutions. So which one is smallest? Well, obviously, a negative is smaller than a positive. So it is negative 3. Now, of course, you could do this in Desmos as well. So the problem is now, if you do it, just by typing the whole thing in here, okay, so it looks pretty clear, obvious here that yes, x equals 10 is a solution and x equals like negative 3. But you can't click on the lines because of the fact that there's the square roots. So just to confirm that, this is why for certain problems, I like to graph y equals left side, y equals right side, and look at the intersection points, because then I can guarantee and see, yes, negative 3 is a solution. Okay, positive 10 is a solution. Which one's smaller? It's negative 3. Okay, there I have my answer. Next up, question 21, we have some similar triangles. Notice this piece of information here, completely irrelevant to the problem. You do not need this in any way, shape, or form. Okay? So we have, wait, no. This is the one that they are not necessarily right triangles. So let me just whatever. Do the picture like this. Okay. X, Y, Z, R, S, T. Angle Z is 20 degrees. What is the measure of angle T? Well, Z corresponds to T, therefore those two angles must be congruent because between two similar triangles, the corresponding angles are always congruent. So the correct answer is C. You do not need, again, to do anything with the fact that 2xy equals rs. And technically my picture is wrong just because this would mean rs is bigger than xy. RST, the triangle, is larger than XYZ, but again, you don't need to do anything with that to solve this. All right, last question here, number 22. Basically wants to know which of these is equivalent to f of x plus 2. So first I'll show you how to do it by hand, kind of the theoretical way, and then we will take a look in Desmos. So we have the original function, and I'm going to replace the x with x plus 2. So the way that you manipulate this into one of these answers is you take this 4 to the x plus 2 and you split it up into 4 to the x times 4 to the second. Because the exponents are added, that means that the two quantities are being multiplied. Then you make 4 to the second into 16. Then you multiply the 16 and the 9 and you turn that into 144. Then we still have the 4 to the x. So the correct answer for this is letter B. Okay, now here's how we could do this in Desmos. Graph the original function. Actually, we don't need to graph it, we just need to type it in because I need to do a transformation on it. All right, take away the original. We don't want the original on the screen. Now, we go through the answer choices. Does this answer choice A match the g of x, i.e. the function after the translation? It does not, therefore it's not the correct answer. Okay. What about B? Does it match? Yes. Notice, completely over top of each other. So that just shows you it's correct. I mean, you can test out C, not correct. You can test out D, again, not correct, but that's how you can match the expressions very quickly in Desmos. All right, so that was Bluebook Digital SAT Practice Test 9, Math Section Module 1, all 22 problems. If you like this video, of course, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and sign up for notifications. Also, if you haven't done so already, check out the videos for the same task, Practice Test 9, Module 2A, the easier of the 2-second modules, and Module 2B, the harder of the 2-second modules, as soon as those videos are posted. And lastly, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything, please feel free to leave them, in the comment section below.